Well, hello, Miss McKnight.
Hello, Mrs.
Thanks
Stewart.
for coming
Sure.
and joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Well, we're going to start with just talking about what would you like for us to discuss today?
So, one thing I know about my new job that's different than my old job is that I'm going to have two ladies that I work with,
Okay.
but I'm their supervisor, which is different from my current job because, I guess I'm unemployed right now, aren't I? From the job that I'm leaving, because even though my title was supervisor, I didn't actually officially supervise, and meaning I didn't have any evaluative responsibilities. So I guess I did supervise people because the professional development that we had teachers do, I was in charge of that. So I made sure that they did what they were supposed to do, mostly, and made sure that they had what they needed. But when the rubber met the road, I wasn't in charge of them, and I didn't evaluate them. I didn't sign any paperwork for them beyond preparing the contract for them to do their professional development. And kind of the buck stopped with Debrell because she is the executive director of AG. But in my new job, I'm the program manager for the social studies little department. And so there's me and two instructional coaches
That will report to you.
that will report to me. And so I really, the last year, I've really been kind of thinking about my leadership style and how I want to guide a faculty, because I've, working on my admin license. But this is the first time that I actually am in charge of anybody. For real.
Wow, how exciting
So
is that?
it's sort of exciting.
It's a little stressful, overwhelming.
Yeah, overwhelming because I want them to like me.
Right.
But I know when you're the boss, everybody's not going to like you, and ultimately you're responsible for what happens.
Right.
Whether it's really good or whether it's really not so good.
Right.
And so. And I know I have control tendencies. I think most teachers do. And I think administrators who figure out how to work with their control issues are probably more successful. And so I'm nervous about figuring out what my leadership style with these two ladies are, especially since I have been told by several folks how good they are and how knowledgeable. And nobody said, oh, they don't need to be managed.
Right.
Because if they didn't need to be managed, they wouldn't have hired somebody to manage them.
Right. Yeah.
But
So it sounds like the one goal is how do you manage people? That sounds like one of your goals. Is it okay if I take notes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how do you manage people? Seems like it's going to be a goal that you have. And then the second one, it sounded like you want to. How do you know about your leadership style? Is that a goal, or is that just something you're reflecting on?
I'm reflecting on it and trying to find opportunities that will give me tools to do that, like the BB&T Leadership Institute that they have. I went to the first round. That's 3 days. That's very intensive. 3 days.
How was that?
It was interesting.
Yeah.
There was a lot of crying,
Yeah.
which I hadn't expected.
From you or from other people?
Yes.
Okay.
But one of the things that they're all principals and then me, and one of it's for district level administrators, and so they let people who aren't principals come if they work in central offices. And one of the things that several of the folks who came said is that what they had heard was that it would be a very emotional experience, and they didn't believe them either. But once we were finished, they believed.
I wonder what made it so emotional.
Well, it's very reflective and kind of really thinking about what in your life has caused you to interact with people the way you do, to lead, to follow, just who you are. And so it was hard. It was good. I'm glad that I went. but there was a little room where they made you take your shoes off because the carpet was nice and soft.
Okay.
And the first time they said go in there, I was like, this should be okay. And there were chairs lined up in a circle. And I thought, oh, this will be okay. So after we were in there 2 or 3 hours, there was about 12 people.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't have a choice but to participate. And if they didn't think you were fully present, they asked questions.
Interesting. If they didn't think you were fully present.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so I think it was really good for everybody in different ways, but it was tough. And you're just kind of there, and they want you to stay overnight at a hotel. I didn't, because it was here.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's something you can use as we're talking through this, some of the strategies that you can use, because that's very helpful when you're looking at moving to the next level.
It was, and I'm taking another one.
Okay.
That's just a day session. That's kind of the next step. I haven't looked at the kind of evaluation tools, but they did lots of surveys and stuff. But so I want to kind of get a handle about my own personal style before I hit a building,
right?
Where I'm responsible for a grade level or for a whole building. I didn't imagine that I would be supervising anybody before I got an assistant principal job.
I think this is a great experience for you. So if we look at how you want to manage people and just making sure that you know who you are as a leader before you go out there, how will you know if you've been successful? Because let's start with that. You want to learn how to manage people. So how do you know? How will you know if you're successful at that?
I think I'll know if I'm successful.
And what does success look like? So how do you know, and what will it look like?
I think I'll know if we accomplish the goals that we set in a way that that the majority of us feel good about, because you can't always have 100% consensus.
Right.
But if we end up with decisions that are made that everyone can live with, that in this case are good for children, then I'll know we're successful.
So why do you want to achieve this goal? Why is this important to you?
Being successful, or
learning how to manage people. Why is that something that you want to make sure you're successful with? Why has that become a goal?
Well, I've tried to think about where I want to end up, like what my next steps are, what my 5-year plan, what my 10-year plan is. And all of those plans include me supervising somebody. I've had a few experiences where I was teaching adult learners. So in some respects, I was supervising, but I was really their teacher. They were working on their licensure. They were lateral entry teachers. And one set, I had a partner who was very experienced, and I had a very good experience. The second time that I did it, I had a different partner who was not as experienced. Actually, she was not experienced at all in what we were doing. And I was the more senior person. And when I reflect on that experience, I don't feel like I was as successful dealing with those adult learners as I wanted to be. Some of them I still see because they work for Guilford County. And I feel like they felt good about their experience. But there was a few students in that class who, if I ran into them elsewhere, I don't feel like they would have that same reaction. And so I know that some of that is about how I managed our relationship. And so I know, again, you can't make everybody happy, but I want to be effective in my management style so that people who are working on the same task as I am, or with the same goals, so that we can reach them, but so that they have a good experience with it and that I do too.
So let's talk about what's happening now. Like, as you're thinking about going into this position, what are your thoughts? What's happening now? What is reality to you right now?
Well, I'm excited. Like, I feel like I can be excited now because I've turned in my key.
Okay.
Mostly 98% of my Guilford County responsibility is done. That 2% is really about questions that might come from the summer camp, the academic all-star camp.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the camp director. I
Oh,
was.
okay.
I was.
Oh.
So it starts next week. So we
Okay.
have a camp director, and she knows what to do, but she might have questions about
Mhm.
why I made choices I made.
Right.
But except for that,
Why did you make the choices that you made?
well, things about how I plan camp for this summer,
Mhm.
field trips, people who I contacted with for field trips or for the end of camp celebration. And so while she knows how to do those things, I did them differently than she did when she was the camp director before.
Okay.
So she may have questions about why did you do that, or who am I supposed to call?
Mhm.
So she might call me, but other than that, I'm done. So I'm now excited about it. I'm a little apprehensive because I know not that much about Winston-Salem, Forsyth County,
Yeah.
and I don't think they operate the same way that
Yeah.
we do.
I don't know, but you'll find out, and you'll
Yeah.
find out quickly. So what do you think the obstacles will be for you, or what are the challenges you feel like will happen?
I think the first one will just be getting the lay of the land.
Mhm.
That's definitely more challenge than obstacle.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't see any obstacles, more challenges, because I don't know really what's waiting. But getting to know the district, getting to know the two ladies that I will be working most closely with.
How do you think you're going to get to know them?
Well, I'm thinking that I'll be spending a lot of time with them, learning about what they do, which will help guide me to know what I will do. There's some things I know that I will do. I know I'll have a budget, so I'll have that. What's one of the challenges that I'll have is learning about budgets. I know a little about budget codes, and I've done some project work for my admin license on budgeting, but project work for Dr. Clarita is different than managing my own budget.
Right.
Learning, managing my budget, and figuring out who to call for what, and understanding district priorities. So those are some challenges I know that I'll face. I think in terms of getting to know them, I think we're going to have to go out for some lunches and spend some time working and planning. I know we have professional development coming up that has to be planned. I'm sure they've started, but knowing that they have a program manager coming means that there are some decisions I'm sure they haven't made. And so talking about those things and working through and just kind of learning about them and who they are and where they've come from and their experiences through conversation is kind of the best thing I can think of right now.
Yeah. So let's talk about the options. So the goal is to manage people and learn how to do that. So what are the options that we have when you're thinking about that? What are the things that you will do, or what are the approaches that you're going to take when it comes to this?
Well, I really want, since it's two, and we're really a team of three, I really want to have a collaborative leadership style. I don't want to be the boss and they're the coaches and they report to me, and that's it. I want to be a team that collaborates together with the goal of doing what's best for children and social studies in the district. That's how I want to kind of approach the management of what we'll have to do. I know sometimes you have to be a little bit more autocratic in your leadership style, particularly if the team is bigger or there has to be, the buck stops here. And I don't know if that's how they function. So I need to learn about how they function too, which I really won't until I meet with my supervisor and she kind of gives me that idea. I don't know how much autonomy I have.
So the options so far are you can have a collaborative leadership style where you work with the team. Are there any other options that you see?
That are good ones?
Good, bad, ugly.
I mean, I could go in and say I'm in charge, and we're going to do what I want, and we're going to do it my way.